We just got home from vacation, and I'm like looking at my bales, and I was actually talking to her on the phone. I was like, something's wrong with my bales. And I got out of the tractor, and it was like, no, the net wrap's cut too. It's somebody took a razor blade to them. Every single one of those bales was cut on the bottom 6 inches.
This isn't vandalism. This was very targeted, and normal people wouldn't know what the implications of cutting those bales meant.
We're just looking to get the person who paid the person to cut the bales.
We really just want justice to be served.
Or people just to understand too, like how much this hurts.
Yeah.
I cried real tears that day. I told her I would rather have been shot, or somebody smashed my windows, or slashed my tires, or, beat me up. But to cut someone's hay bales like that, it's like, man, I wasn't joking when I said the blood, sweat, and the tears, because anybody that's been around a farm knows what it's like. What we've narrowed it down to be is just pure hate.
Hey friends, welcome back to As a Man Thinketh on Yanasa TV. Today's interview is a bit of a mystery, but I wanted to share this story with you guys because, as you know from watching this channel, one of the passions of my wife and I is to try and figure out ways to encourage young people to want to stay in our rural communities, to be our farmers and our future ranchers. And we put a lot of effort into helping to support programs that get kids in the outdoors, get kids learning about agriculture, learning about outdoor survival, whatever it is that will get their interest in remaining in these communities. And so when I heard this story, I was a bit troubled by it. Ethan and Alexis Lawrence with Lawrence Family Farms, they started their farm during the years of COVID, at a time when a lot of us needed food. And they were able to create and establish a successful business, or at least a business that was growing successfully over the course of 3 years. So when somebody decided to go out and try and ruin their business by sabotaging their hay harvests so that they couldn't feed their animals over the wintertime, you could only imagine the amount of disappointment that this 28 and 29-year-old probably felt when they've put in so much effort and work into raising their animals, building their farm, to have this happen to them. To live in a community where you think somebody out there hates you to the point where they would want to ruin you. It's a horrible feeling. But farm sabotage is nothing new. It's something we've seen all across this country. And whether it's somebody who is a competitor that's just simply distasteful, a coward in many ways, or it's an activist that thinks that you're polluting a lake. Whoever it is, these cowards are doing this to farmers across our country. You saw it in Oregon. You saw where activists had gone in and set fires to Cal Valley. And I'm not saying this particular situation is activists, and I don't think that Lawrence thinks that it is. Point is this is a story worth telling, and it's another story that I can share with you about the lives of farmers so you understand what you can do to be supportive of our family farms and helping young people want to get into this business. Now, I might add here that when I asked people what you could do to support their farm, they simply said, come shop with us. Ethan and Alexis are very humble people, very kind people. I added a little bit more to our interview this time because I really want people to see who these type of people are and what has happened to them. This could have been a lot more devastating than it was. Luckily, they're hard workers and they're punching through it. They're gonna get through the winter in Vermont, which can be very harsh winters. And what I found interesting is when their hay got ruined, they didn't turn around and try and sell it to people. They gave it away to other farmers who needed it. This is the type of people that somebody decided to attack. For reference, I've put all of their information in the information section below the video. Real quick reminder, guys, Yanasa TV is sponsored by Yanasa Trading Co. Yanasa Trading Co. is a trading company that my wife and I have been working on building for the past year to help offset some of the effects of ad censorship on our channel. We have a lot of Defend the Right to Farm gear, the Defend the Right to Farm gear, t-shirts, Defend the Right to Farm ranch. All of that helps support not only this channel, but also our nonprofit. We are currently running a pre-sale on leather patch hats with the Defend the Right to Farm logo on them. You can get those, pre-order them now, because a lot of times we have to place that order for these hats, and when we get them in, we don't have a lot of extras. So be sure to pre-order your Defend the Right to Farm leather patch hat. So shop at Yanasa Trading Co. and support the channel.
I've been farming my whole life since I got my first animals when I was 5 years old anyway. And we moved here in 2018, and then we got a couple pigs, and nothing was what it is now. So long story short, 6 years later, we were running a herd of like 75 average this spring, last winter. We're dropped down to like 50 animals this year. And we're like, oh, let's go buy 50 animals, right? So we're putting up all this extra hay, and we wanted to get away one last time. So like, oh, let's go to Maine. We go camping 3, 4, 5 times a year. We can't afford to go anywhere else or have the time for people to watch. So we try to go travel an hour or two away from where we live, So we got home and I just put fertilizer down. It was July 27th. I took second cut off this field, and we just put $1,800 worth of fertilizer down. It was third cut. It had grown for 32 days, and I'm going to mow that field. And we just got home from vacation, and second lap around on my reverse lap, I'm like looking at my bales, and I was actually talking to her on the phone. I was like, something's wrong with my bales. My wrapper messed up or something. All my bales are broke open, thinking something crazy happened. And I got out of the tractor, and it was like, no, the net wrap's cut too. It's somebody took a razor blade to them. And I started looking. I ran over to talk to the landowner, and I was like, oh, there's like 15 bales cut. So I called the cops, and they came out, and then I was like looking at the pile, and I'm like, holy crap, the whole pile is cut. So there was 58 bales in the pile. By the time we took all the bales off the pile, I had a couple farmers around me that they didn't have a lot of money, and hay is hard in Vermont these past couple of years, all the rain. So I said, come get it, you can have it. So we loaded up all the bales, and we found seven good bales. I got protein samples on them. It was 16% protein, second cut. It was high moisture. It was 50% moisture. It was beautiful feed. And there was 51 bales of trash.
Have you figured out anything out that has happened there?
I figured out some stuff, but I haven't been able to fully execute the proving side of it. So we're working with the local police, and I'm 99% sure, but I gotta have rock solid evidence in order to point a finger with the public.
Where'd you guys go in Maine, by the way?
Old Orchard.
Yeah, we stayed in Old Orchard. That's right. Yeah, we baled that hay on the 27th of July. We went camping August 22nd to the 25th. Yeah. It appears to be, from the evidence that we've received, the person who actually drove the person who cut the bales came forward for a reward. And we're just looking to get the person who paid the person to cut the bales. Long story. It could go into it, but it's a little top secret right now.
basically what we've found, we're not interested in the person that was the driver. We're not interested in the person that cut the bales. What we're interested in finding out is who sent these people to cut our bales, because this isn't vandalism.
No.
If kids were this isn't random vandalism, I should say. If it were random vandalism, kids wouldn't come to the field and just cut the bales open and understand what that means. They didn't know when the hay was baled.
Yeah, it only been fermenting for 3 weeks when they cut them open, and then that was on the 23rd. They cut them open, and I didn't see them until the 27th, right? 28th.
But what I was, it's just not random. This was very specific. Like, if it were going to be kids randomly going to the field, they'd spray paint them or do something silly. This wasn't random. This was very targeted, and normal people wouldn't know what the implications of cutting those bales meant, and that it would ruin them, and that it would cause them to grow white mold, and then we'd have to get rid of them.
One of them came forward because they wanted the reward money.
Yeah, the kid that picked up the guy who cut the bales.
Okay.
But the guy who cut the bales in Vermont, they're calling them transients. They don't have addresses. They don't have phone numbers. They don't have a residence. They're drug addicts, and they're homeless. And a couple $100, somebody paid him, and he came and did whatever he thought he needed to do.
They don't know yet who paid them to do it.
No. Yeah, Vermont's legal process is real slow right now. But the other thing is, every one of those bales, if you look at, I don't know if you saw my original Facebook post, but the pictures that got posted, every single one of those bales was cut on the bottom 6 inches. So the second cut grass that was left from the mower around the sides of the pile, it covered the cuts. So you could not see from the road that any of the bales were cut, even though if you walked in the field to them, every single one of them was cut. You could see right as you walked up to them, but you couldn't see it from the road.
And what does a bale go for in Vermont right now?
We priced out hay to replace it, and not even the same quality. It was only 14% second cut, high moisture. They wanted $60 a bale, and then I got anywhere that you look in Vermont, it's $10 a bale to truck hay for round bales, and then you got to figure a piece of equipment on each side of it to load and unload. So there's $5 a bale right there.
Did insurance cover it?
Yeah, they covered a portion of it. They gave me $75 a bale for 51 bales, and $3,825. And I had $1,000 deductible, so I got $2,825. But like I was telling you earlier, I just put $1,800 worth of fertilizer on the field. You got $600 in fuel net wrap, and then you got your plastic wrap for 50 bales. That's 2 rolls of wrap. That's $230 in Vermont because we're or 240 actually, because we're $119 a roll right now. So I figured it all out. After the spring, my manure spreader broke. I had to pay somebody to spread the manure. I figured it up to be like about $7,500 total loss if you figured labor, time, fuel, all of the supplies. But the insurance company didn't care about my loss. They cared about replacing the product that was damaged.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's usually how it goes, right?
That's how it goes, right?
It's also just kind of the mental toll. You just went through all of that work, and then you lost all of your hay.
And it just so happened that hay that got cut, we had no help that weekend. Like normally we have friends and stuff and some family that like to come and help. It was just Ethan and I. We got a babysitter, and because we have 2 young boys, we have an 8-year-old and a 3-year-old, and we got a babysitter, and I stayed in the field with him till 1 a.m, and that was our date night. That was our Friday night date night, wrapping bales. So it felt so personal. And I mean, after last year's rainy summer, like any nice stretch of weather we've had this year, it's like we're making hay.
The past 10 days has been nothing but sun in Vermont. We made this just past 10 days, not even 10 days. I think it's been like 6 that we've been haying. But we did 252 round bales, a couple loads of square bales this week. About 52 bales a second cut. You don't just have second cut laying around everywhere that's 16% protein. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can go around town and all the old farmers in the world will give me all their leftover first cut and second cut fields, all mixed together fields. But that doesn't do me any good when it comes January and I'm paying $4,000 a month in grain because the hay I put up's got 10%, 8% protein, and I got to supplement, anywhere between, 8 and 6% supplement on the dry matter. So that's my biggest loss is, as a small farm this year we're going to be running into winter with 107 head, and you put up hay that tests on average, we shoot for 15%. We do a lot of third cut. Now all of a sudden your grain bill could have been 40 grand. It might be 60 grand. And it doesn't seem like a lot, but when you're only profiting $60,000 a year, you take 20 right off the top right there because your quality of hay is trash. I figured 50 bales that we lost, the 51 bales that we lost, with the way we're feeding the steers right now, we lost about 85 days of feed for that group of animals. That's about 35 animals, But that's what I said to the news. I said, if without being able to replace that hay, those animals would either have to be, supplemented or sold because you won't make your money on them.
Do you plan on selling any, or are you going to try and make it through the winter?
I think we're going to try and make it through the winter because
that's a tough winter up there.
We're still in our growing stages, and we've been trying to grow the whole time. So it's just an unneeded climb over another knoll that we didn't plan on.
Yeah, my family had a farm in Cavendish, Vermont
Yeah.
for 50 years, and I just remember the snow piling up over the winter. It just wouldn't leave. So, I mean,
Yeah,
down.
you never know. We've had a couple mild winters, so we're due for a hard one.
Yeah, well, I think supposedly the Atlantic has cooled off a little bit, so it probably will be a harsher winter this year.
Yeah.
But
I heard something about El Nino or something like that.
El Nino, El Nino.
Yeah, one of those two, right? How many bales of hay do you go through over the wintertime? Because you guys have snow on the ground.
Like 1 to 2 a day, right?
Everybody around here plans on feeding animals from okay, you're gonna barn your animals from November 15th to April 15th. Okay. December 1st is basically the recommended law, but beef cows, you can leave your cows outside if you want, but we barn ours up. But come April 15th, you can't, the earliest you're cutting first cut in Vermont is May 15th. So from April 15th to May 15th, even though you turn your cows out, you can run them a little bit lighter because they can eat some stubble and stuff, but you're still running on 40 animals. So you're still running a bale a day. We get them all home. Like last year we had 78 here, and that was a mixed bag. We had calves and we had 4-year-old cows, but that was
many bales were
that was
feeding?
2.5 bales a day.
2.5 bales a day.
Yeah, all winter. So I always figure on 130 days. So I always figure 130 days. This year I'm figuring for 4 bales. So I'm gonna try and put up. We got like 650 bales right now, but I'm gonna try and get over 800 this year just for security.
That's a lot of hay.
A lot of round bales, yeah. I mean, I said it on the news, but I was for real. I cried real tears that day. I felt like I would have rather. I told her I would rather have been shot or somebody smashed my windows or slashed my tires or beat me up. But to cut someone's hay bales like that, it's like, man, I wasn't joking when I said the blood, sweat, and the tears, because anybody that's been around a farm knows what it's like, and you got enough problems in the day trying to make a bale of hay,
With stuff breaking down, and I mean, I'm always a little bit resentful of hay season because, like I said, we got 2 kids, and it's 6 months out of the year that, like, gone. I call it peak season. He's gone, and he gets home at 10 o'clock at night, and he eats dinner that's cold, and he misses a lot of stuff, and it's sad that somebody would go in and ruin somebody else's property, but then ruin feed for animals. Like, I just can't understand the thought process behind it. But
you guys live pretty close to Lake Champlain, which has kind of been the topic of controversy with the EPA coming in and telling the Vermont agricultural department, that they're taking regulatory authority away from them with some of the farms. I think it mainly has to do with CAFOs, but do you feel like in that area there are people who are anti-farms?
I don't think so. I mean, we're in Chittenden County, so we're like the core of agritourism, and you got like the Stowe area, and then you got like your I'd say you got your more rural, like if you ever been down in North Bennington or Dorset or any of those small, they're all Ludlow, all small. A lot of them are known for certain things, but Chittenden County only has Lake Champlain, the fairgrounds. I don't think there's really much else. That's we got the airport, but everything around it is apple orchards, local farms, pig farms, chicken farms, huge vegetable produce.
in what we found, I think we started our farm at a really interesting time. We started selling beef during COVID, and I think at that time people were really hyped up to support local. They wanted to know where their food was coming from. They wanted to support local businesses. So we got such love and open arms from the community and people wanting to support us, and that's continued to stay true. So I don't think like we don't feel that type of hate from
we don't
the
have a dairy farm, so we're pretty safe.
Yeah.
Really, what happened here is a sour case of competition, and that's what we've narrowed it down to be is just pure hate.
competition. I don't know if you guys have been out west, but I've seen some pretty crazy things going on out west sometimes with
We've
ranches
just
and
been
farms.
comparing it to episodes of Yellowstone.
Yeah,
That's what we've been doing because we haven't been out west. We'd love to go out west, but we just keep comparing it to Yellowstone.
That's what she said. She's like, it feels like somebody dumped alfalfa in our fields with a helicopter.
That stuff happens, though. I mean, that's what's so great about the show is because you go out there and that stuff is really going on.
Yeah.
It's just not a fair situation.
Yeah.
We've been given enough information that we're pretty confident of who it is, and the police are working on it. And
It's still trickling in.
Yeah, I've called.
Longer time goes on, it's good old Vermont. There's only, I don't even know how many people now, 500,000 maybe, who knows. But I know in Chittenden County, in the town I live in, there's only 10,000. So, and the town next door is only 10,000. So between those 20,000 people, somebody does something bad and the guy likes to brag about stuff, and the person that cut the bales were, there's supposedly video that hasn't yet been obtained, but may have been recorded and posted to a social media platform while the bales were being cut. So like just crazy mess ups that you would never believe. When this is all wrapped up and done and you'll read the whole report, it's going to be mind blowing that somebody put the effort in to commit a crime like this. It's really so crazy.
It surprises me that somebody would actually post that on social media, like they're bragging about what they did to somebody's life. I mean,
well, it's unintelligent criminals.
Yeah, these were the criminals. That's how I ended up with the kid that came to the police and helped me out. It's just I can't. I never could have made this up. You couldn't have asked me to ever make this up and tell you like, what if somebody did this to me? Like, no, I never even dreamed of this.
Yeah,
I think about it all the time. It's like now after this all happened, I'm like, I got locations where I have animals and stuff. There's $20,000 worth of hay sitting around town in like a couple different places. It's like it's not just about like even at the home farm with the feed that we keep here. It's like, we got insurance for like $80,000 in hay, but it doesn't seem like a lot. But you start losing, 50 bales seemed like enough, a substantial amount. I figured it was about an eighth of my hay. And that's minimum. That's minimum numbers. 400 bales is bottom scrape and barrel minimum.
How do you feel? Farming has changed over the last couple of years. Do you think you have good access to getting your beef slaughtered, or is it a challenge?
So Vermont's particularly special in that case because we've always had a problem with not having enough slaughterhouses, right? And then I don't know I'm sure you heard about it, but you heard about Champlain beef. It burned down there.
I think actually I didn't remember that one. That was last year.
Yeah, in the fall, I think, or maybe it was early spring this year. I think it was winter, spring, something like that. But anyway, they were like the big New England slaughterhouse. So we have four. We either have 4 or 5 slaughterhouses that are like USDA state inspected, not just, they're doing 10, 15 animals a week, but we only have 4 or 5 of them in the whole state. So I'm fortunate because from the beginning I've grown with the same butcher, and I don't no call, I don't no show, I don't cancel dates. Mm-hmm. So they on the flip side of things here with the butcher, there's a lot of that going on too, where people aren't showing up, and then it doesn't seem like a big deal, but that's $1,200 minimum that the butcher just lost by not having somebody show up with an animal. Mm-hmm. So we've had really good luck, but it has been challenging. And if you're not a good farmer, it's really hard to have a good butcher because they want to be there for you, but they also got a business to run. So.
One thing we're definitely struggling with though is like when we started our prices, we were $4.50 a pound hanging, and we have been discussing that come January we're going to have to be $6 a pound hanging, and that's just because the way that the economy is, fuel is up and it's not going down, grain prices are up and it's not going down, making the hay to feed the animals, like everything, it's not.
We were paying $5 a gallon for off-road diesel. And like 2 years ago, and the lowest it's gotten, we haven't seen under 3 since since 2019. You know, um, it seems like the price of grain is stabilized. I'm sure you guys have seen that too. Now that last year seemed to be a good grain year, but the couple years before that, through COVID, grain was crazy.
Yeah, it might go
We've
a little crazy again because we had droughts in states like North Carolina and Ohio, but I still think the big states made out okay this year. So
yeah. The other thing that's a problem now in Vermont is all the rendering, so all the leftover from the butcher there. They keep charging them more because they don't want it. You know, they're running out of places. Nobody's using stuff anymore. They're throwing everything away. So like a kill fee in Vermont, before you know it, it's going to be $200. You know, it's $150 right now just to kill an animal, and then you're $1.10 to put it in a package. So we include that in our price and our hanging weight, but you know, we're still sold out. So we seem to be still, everybody tells us they're going to keep buying, but you know, we're $6 a pound. It's like, you know, it's about $8.50 to $8.75 a pound in the package on the whole cow. Yeah.
I think from what I've been seeing, are you selling quarters and halves, or are you selling?
Yeah.
We did quarters and halves this year. We did 2 halves a month and 2 quarters a month, along with we sell retail. So we have the people that just come in and they buy 5 pounds of burger and a couple steaks. And I think
some months you've sold 4 halves.
Yeah, some months I way oversold us and told him, hey, you got to butcher 5 cows this month, by the way. I think we're going to move away from quarters, though. Quarters,
it's a lot of work.
Were very difficult this year.
Out where we are, you know, they won't sell meat retail at all. I mean, they'll do the halves and the quarters, but the concept of trying to sell, you know, all those packages, all those 1 pound packages of ground beef just doesn't work out.
See, I love doing the retail stuff, and like, because we'll get it and I'll sell it out so fast, but also that's how we got our customer base, because someone came and they tried a couple pounds of burger and a couple steaks and they're like,
I want to have cow.
Yeah, they're like, wow, this is great. And I'm already spending a couple $100 a month. How can I get it in bulk? And that's how we got all our customers. So for us, we feel like you have to offer that, because not everybody wants a half or quarter. They want just the little bit that they need.
We did a burger cow 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
We got it back, and she sold 300 pounds of burger on a Tuesday in 1 pound packs. You know?
Wow.
I have fun with it. It's like a game.
I think all the attention helped a little bit, because everybody's like, everybody keeps going, what do you got for steaks? You know, how can we support you? Like, well, you can buy steaks when we get them, but we're still sold out from the first Facebook post, you know?
I know it's been a challenge for a lot of people with the price increases, but I feel like, you know, from what we pay for beef, you could probably go up on your hanger weight if you wanted to. Just suggestion, but I don't know how the market is in Vermont when it comes to that stuff. But
well, you got people who are raising grass-fed beef. They want $8-10 a pound. You got people like me who are putting in enough into the animal to make a good product, but if they can turn enough of them a year, it's good money. And then you got people who aren't taking very good care of their animals, and they're selling them for $3 a pound.
Wow.
So there's like, Vermont's like a weird market, right? Because like the old Vermonters are like, cow's a cow, who cares? You know, and then there's 30% of the whole state that knows what beef tastes like, and then there's like 50% of the state that just doesn't know what beef is in general. So those will like eat whatever.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a funny market, because you have the people who really enjoy good meat, and then you have the people that are like, you know, you sell them 85-15 burger that's like full of juice and flavor, and they're like, it's not fatty enough for me. You know, I need 60-40. Yeah, it's like, okay.
And then you got the 5% of people that want the lab grown meat. So we'll let them stay with the lab grown meat, right?
Yeah, I don't want any of that. Thanks.
No.
They always joke, we're walking through the grocery store, I'd be like, hey, you want me to grab some Beyond Burger?
No, that stuff is so over processed. Well, I mean, the lab grown stuff is just weird, but the other stuff is so over processed. Your body doesn't even break down the protein the same way.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not healthy for you. But
yeah, but it is a really cool part we live in, and if you guys ever find yourselves on the Northeast and you make your way to Vermont, I could hook you up with a bunch of local, orchards, and there's a couple produce farms that I'm really friendly with. I know a couple larger beef farms than me, like 400 or 500 head. That's a big beef farm in Vermont, is a couple hundred head.
I was just in Maine at the beginning of August picking my kids up from summer camp, and I always go through Vermont to our old family farm whenever I head up there. So
yeah, I love Cavendish. We go camping all over Vermont too, but my family grew up in middle central Vermont really, but my great grandfather's farm was Sheffield. It was the last big dairy farm they had. They sold that farm in '69. Yeah, he had 72 milkers in '69.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a big farm. Yeah. But now we just got some mega dairies, and then I think I read something the other day. Somebody did a report in Vermont. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I remember this because I did a project when I was real young. But something about there only being 311 farms left, or less than 300 farms left.
In Vermont?
In Vermont. And when I did this report in I think it was the 60s or the 80s, there was 11,000.
They've all been consolidated, So when you go out west, I mean, there are some mega ranches out west that are, just huge, and they're corporate based. So a lot of the people that own them are just investors, and they buy the land, they have wind turbines on it, whatever. They try and make every penny they possibly can out of that land. I think COVID kind of reminded people of the importance of maintaining your local food network and supporting your local farmer. I mean, we try, even, my wife is real big on making sure we're always at the farmers markets, to try and get what we can first there. But it's, that is probably one of the best things that happened with COVID, was people recognizing the need to support their local farmers,
Yeah, we agree. That's
our core.
Yeah, if it weren't for COVID, I don't know that we would have even begun to have had as many customers as we did. So
not as quickly as we did.
Yeah.
And we went from a couple of cows overnight. Like, we sold 2 cows the first year, and then the next year I think we sold it was 10. And then now every year since then, I mean, this year we sold 28, and then I was like, we got to stop until January because I don't have any cows left. They're gone.
Gotta let them grow.
I'm out. So I've been having a bunch of fall calves, and we're catching up. But we just bought this group of animals. So
how many months does it usually take you to finish them?
From birth to finish, we're about 26 months. We don't run an aggressive feed program. Yeah. We just run a consistent feed program because I'm not a big fan of over fatting the calf. I only like to see an inch on the calf natural, and then keep it, because there's no sense in them trimming it off and throwing it away when I'm trying to sell the cow.
Yeah.
When I'm doing it retail. So and we found the customers to prefer a leaner piece of homegrown meat.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking with somebody because we have a heritage breed of cows. And they're slower, like Angus, they're turning them around in 18 months.
Yeah, I mean, the commercial farmers right now, I was just talking to the guy that does all my beef. He has 300-400, and he was telling me he's been doing some reading in the paper that they're killing steers at 14 months right now. They're addressing 800 on these feedlots. But there's injections and everything else that's going on there that a lot of people are starting to pay attention to, like you said, and they want to know where their food comes from. They want to, I hate to say they want to see the animals, but there's nothing better than somebody coming to a clean farm. The animals are quiet, the barns are clean, the animals are taken care of. They look healthy, they look happy. A lot of people say that. They're like, I hate to see the animals because I know I can't think about eating them, but they're like, I'm so glad to see them because we know exactly.
People want to know where their food comes from. Yeah. Truly, they want to see them and see the conditions they're living in and see how they're treated.
It's like going to the pumpkin patch and picking out your pumpkin. Yeah. You go to a nice barn, you go to a nice pumpkin patch, and it's It's cool. It's really cool.
And I don't know, how we got this way as people, but because everybody goes to the grocery store, they don't make the connection between the animal and what is on their plate. And so for some people, it can be appalling to go out and see the animal. But then I think once you get past that and you can reestablish that, what I think is a natural relationship between the two, it, it to me, it makes the whole thing even better. But
Yeah, I just told them, I said, don't worry, we only name the ones that have babies. We put numbers on the ones we eat.
Well, we have a few pigs. I've got 2 pigs that I'm raising right now to breed next year. So we named those Cupcake and Donut. Their food names because they'll eventually be food. But
we've done litters. Yeah, we've done litters and litters of pigs. And
that's how we started farming, was pig farming.
Yeah, pigs are next level. I tell Ethan no more pigs. I love having the piglets, but cleaning their pens is just At
one time I was running 7 sows, and I had 4 litters at the same time. One of them had 13. Every one of them lived. The other one had like 12. One had 10. One had like 11. And there was just 500-pound sows all in my barn, piglets everywhere. All you could hear was piglets screeching. She's like, no.
Yeah, I was like, let's just shift the cows.
But I sold every one of them piglets. Piglets are $150 a piece in Vermont. You get them 8 weeks old and neutered. They're $150 a pop for a good heritage breed in Vermont. We were running like some old spot, Tamworth, and we did some old spot. There was another one. It was like a Hampshire. Or it's like a different type of. They call them New England breeds, but they're long and big pigs. They're just. You run them for 7 months and they hang 200 pounds, and that's what everybody around here is used to eating. But everybody raises pigs in Vermont. Like, you'll be driving down the road, Route 7 or Route 128, and there's just a pallet fence in somebody's front yard, and they're running a couple pigs,
Yeah, we've got a couple of red wattles, and then I've got one that's it's a Yorkshire Mulefoot cross. We bought that one just to feed it for a few months. We call that one Bacon Bits because they're fun, but they are loud.
The noise really overwhelms me. I think I get overstimulated out there.
They squeal.
Yeah.
Screech, rather.
And their poop, it's worse than chicken poop. It's just, I can't. It's putrid.
Yeah. We ran them outside the first couple of years. That was a mistake.
Yeah.
So then I started running them in the barn after that, and that was better. But man, outside, like, we didn't have an excavator at the time. We have one now. But I had to rent an excavator like every 2 months to clean the pen out because they had like this hole. And it was just putrid. And we recycle brewer's grain here on the farm. We feed a lot of brewer's grain. I got 2 local breweries. We probably get 2 or 3 tons a week. And I feed that. That's my secret recipe in my beef there. I can't tell you what I use for corn and soybean, but we used to dump the whole tote of the brewer's grain out there anyway, and the pigs would just freaking make a mess of it. It's like Fly City. I used to have flies all over in the house. She's like, you got to get rid of them damn pigs.
They are nice, though, because you don't waste any scraps. Like, I did love having pigs for that. You're not throwing like stale food away.
Yeah.
But
problem is they eat more than my scraps. So they're expensive in that capacity. But we have enough space for them that and they haven't had litters yet, but they just kind of roam around. I don't have to clean up a whole lot right now, but I'm sure once they start having litters of 10,
This last batch, we had them in our barn, and they were just in a pen. And every Sunday we put on our boots, and I would suit up like I was going into a hazmat building, and I had a mask on because you don't want the poop in your mouth. And we're out there cleaning them, and no, it's better if you have a bigger space for them.
Yeah, the only barn that we have that we can clean with the skid steer is the freestall. So where the pigs were, we just tore that barn down. We're gonna try and I got like a set of free trusses out back, and I just went to Lowe's the other day and spent a couple $100 on some lumber. So we're just gonna throw together like a not so nice freestall that's only gonna cost $2,500, but it's a $100,000 barn that's half of it's standing there, just stuff like that. But we'll be able to clean it with a skid steer. So that's our goal this winter, is go into winter with easy chores and animals that have cover, so all 100 animals, we got a plan to have them under cover this year. So
I've always had a lot of plans on our farm. Getting them done is the other problem.
Yeah.
I get them half done.
Yeah, Ethan's really good at
the next one.
He's really good at starting stuff. He just doesn't finish anything. Like
I get the roofs on them.
Yeah.
Right. So the purpose is there.
That's my story. Is if once it starts working, kind of, then I can move on to the next thing, and then 4 or 5 years later, I'll go back to it.
Try and finish it.
Yeah. When we first bought our farm, I just hayed, and I hate haying. Like, your story's heartbreaking because I've been through haying.
I'm sick of it too.
Yeah. I started off with square bales. That was a nightmare because then you had to get all the square bales off the field. And that was, then we have a round baler, and I've done round bales for a few years, but it feels like I'm fixing equipment more than I'm actually moving equipment whenever I do haying. And it's the most frustrating time of the year for me. So the last few years when we've been doing the documentary, like I said, I haven't done it. The fields are starting to look a little bit of a mess, but I could always go out and brush hog and start over.
Brush hog them down.
Yeah. But
or decide to fence them in.
Yeah. Well, I've got cows out there now, but.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I sold my square baler, or I traded my square baler for some cows, and that herd has just kind of grown, but, they're all horned, so it's really hard to get them into a processor in North Carolina unless I have a vet come out and cut the horns off. But we've kind of figured out a way around it. We just have to have a USDA guy kill it, and then somebody else do the butchering. But is
that are you guys allowed to do farm slaughter or no? Because like I could sell an animal to you. And we could do it right here in my front yard, as long as you paid me as long as you own the animal before we start processing it.
Everybody I know, processes it, but
and I'm saying Vermont, you can do up to 2,500 chickens in your yard before you need a license.
Wow.
We've definitely done some pigs in our front yard.
Yeah,
the neighbors
pigs,
are driving
cows.
by and they're like, "What's going on?"
We have a lot of different cultures in our community, and I've made really good friends with some Burmese, and we have some friends from Thailand, and I have some European Bosnian friends, and we run a couple lambs every year for them. They like steers, they love steers, so we run them a couple our friends from Thailand. We do a couple steers for them, and then the Burmese, unfortunately we stopped breeding pigs, but they used to love the old sows. They wanted like a 500-600 pound sow, and they'd show up with 3 or 4 families, and they'd split it, and they'd do the whole processing right in the yard. And the only thing, there was nothing left except for the hair that they scraped off it.
There was no waste.
They took the whole pig. They cleaned out the intestines. Same with the cow. The only thing with the cow the past couple of times that they've left is just the hide and the hooves. Sometimes they take the hooves. They don't waste a single part of the cow. They always pick on us. I'm like, they're making me eat stuff out there, and I'll eat it. You cook it up, show me how you do it, I'll eat it. And they're always like, "You Americans, so wasteful, so wasteful." I'm like, "You're right, honestly. Like, I should be out here cleaning intestines on all of our animals and making sausage with it, because that's what they used to do." Mm-hmm. And, we've gone away from, like you said, our natural instincts of being, meat eating predators is what we are, really.
Well, the thing, like, organ meat is really good for you, but nobody ever eats it. The taste is too strong. But something I've seen people do that's kind of creative is they'll come out with what they call their hunter's blend, or, and it's basically ground beef mixed with the organ meat enough that you don't really notice the flavor that much. And they'll sell that stuff for like $15 a pound. And people are eating it.
People ask us for it all the time. We just, they don't. There's something in Vermont with the retail that you can't sell ground organs or something. or it has to be like separate or something, or you can't run it through the same grinder. There's some reason, but I've asked before to have it done, and they're like, yeah, we can't do that because we have to change out the whole grinder. So I think that there's something in Vermont that if you use organ meat, it like has to be clearly labeled, and like you can't cross contaminate.
What can people do to support your farm? You know, you've gone through kind of a rough summer. You're going into the wintertime.
Honestly, stop by our farm one day and try our burger.
Pick up some meat.
Yeah, and if you like it, then come back, because we'd love to have more customers or meet new people. And that's why we really stayed away from the GoFundMe, because it really wasn't about getting money. The money meant nothing. It was, but we have received so much like love and support from people. So that's been, it really made us realize a lot of people do care and they do want to see farmers exist. And
I was talking to a guy on the phone the other day from Spokane, Washington, and he just called me up just to talk. He's like, you know, he's worked for a freighting company, but he was just wanting to talk, and he's like, it was just humbling to me that how, you know, I was talking to somebody this morning from upstate New York, and a couple people from Florida and Georgia, a nice lady from Georgia, and it's like, it's just amazing that there's still that old, you know, neighborly community that takes care of each other. And we're still all out here all across the whole country. You know, it's like, it's an eye opener. We've been telling our kids, it's like, there's so many good people in this world that the bad, it just makes it look like it's all bad, but it's really not. You know, we're still strong as a group.
We've been getting cards in the mail from people in Tampa, Florida, or Georgia, and just all over, and people calling and asking how they can help and asking if we have a GoFundMe. And although GoFundMes are such a great resource for people that suffer really tragic losses, it just really, that wasn't why we wanted to bring attention to it. We appreciate the love and support, but we really just want justice to be served, because
people just to understand too, like how much this hurts.
Yeah.
You know, we appreciate everybody, and we're just 28. Well, she's 29 now. She's getting old, but I'm still 28 until the 23rd. So September 23rd is my birthday. It's Monday. So if you ever find your way coming through Vermont, hopefully you'll find your way through Essex.